Today, MC Knitting Adventures is presenting a beginner's guide to signing up and navigating Ravelry. Ravelry is an online resource for knitters and crocheters. There are free patterns, paid for patterns, so much to see, so let's get started. The first thing that we have to do is set up an account. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Google and type in Ravelry.com. And then we head to Ravelry. And then we're going to go to where it says to sign up. Then you just click on sign up. You're going to put in your email address. And then once you've got the email address in, you simply are going to click on the email me a sign up link. You then need to go to your email. And you can see that at the top there's the Ravelry sign up link. So you click on that and then there will be a link for you. And you click on that. And then Ravelry will open up. You get to pick a username. So I was making this account for May. So I tried to use May Knits just for fun. And it was already used. So they gave me some other options, so I chose May Knits 2. I keep thinking I can get her set up for that. And then we need to put in a password. So keep an eye on this because you want to make sure you have a strong password. So I put in a password. And then I went to confirm it. So I typed it in again. Then I clicked on create my account and I was told that it wasn't a safe choice. So I needed to do a different password. So I went back in and created a stronger password. It gives you some ideas about what you can do to put in a different password. So I entered the password twice. And then I went to click on create my account again to see if that was strong enough. And it was. And so Ravelry opens up. Now I was allowed to save the password. You can decide whether you want to do that or not. And then I just wanted it on the device that I was using. So there is a May's Ravelry account set up. Now I'm going to go to my Ravelry accounts because there will be patterns there and it will allow us to do a little bit more work. Once you're able to log into Ravelry, you go on to Ravelry, put in your username and your password, and then you click Login. I have two Ravelry accounts. This is the very first one that I opened up, and you will see this as the screen. You will see patterns, yarns, community, and if you take a look, there's forums, messages, people, friends, groups, then there's support, then there's an advanced search, and then you go all the way across and you will see a couple of things there. So one is your basket or your cart. So if you have picked a pattern and you want to put one in there, you can see I haven't purchased it yet. It's like putting it in your shopping cart. So it's there. Sometimes there will be coupon codes, but in this case that one had expired. So you can see I have a number of patterns there. Then there is your messages, and lots of times it will be from somebody else on Ravelry or it will be an updated pattern. You can see posts and then you see your notebook. And there's a list of things in your notebook. So we can start with projects. So let's take a look what we see when you click on projects. So I have in this other account a number of projects that I've done. So I entered them, put pictures, put information. I must admit I'm not great at putting all the information in, but you can put lots of good information in. So those are my patterns. Your queue is like a list of things you're thinking about doing. So there are some things that I have in that queue, in that kind of lineup of things. You can also enter your stash. So every little bit of yarn that you have, you can put in here, and then Ravelry will help you if you're looking to use up some of that stash. Handspun is for handspun yarn. I don't have any, so you can see there's nothing there. When you get to tools, there are charts that will allow you to keep a record of what needles you have. Do you have the one you need for the project? You can also do that with crochet hooks as well. Favorites are there patterns that you really, really like. So if you favorited them, you can see that I've got some there. And then there's my library. So you can see that I have a number of patterns in this library. So these are things that I've purchased, or they're free patterns which I've put into my library. So I can always go to these and search in my library if I'm thinking of a certain project. And then there, when you click on your own picture, if you've got it in there, it's your profile, settings, things, contributions, things you've purchased, and then that is where at the very bottom you would go to log out. Let's go and see if we can search for a certain pattern. So go back up to the top and click on patterns. And then you just have to put in what you're looking for. So I'm going to put in some information. There's a number of things that are on the patterns page, things that are new, things that they say are hot right now, so things that are being purchased. So you can take a look at that before you go to enter what you want. But I think right now I'm going to search for a hat. So let's go back up to the top. And I'm going to search for a hat to make. So I'm going to be very generic right now, and I'm just going to put the word hat there. And I will search. And you can see there are 160,794 matches. So obviously I want to try and filter that down a little bit. It will tell me what's in my library, if there's any of my projects. You can see that that's there. So option one is I'm going to check out 2,084 pages, or I'm going to try and limit it. So I clicked on favorite designers, but I haven't put any favorite designers in, so that's not going to help me. So I'm going to go down and see what else I can search for. So let's go into accessories. And I put in hat, and I decide that I want, look at all the kinds of hats. So it's nice that you can be very specific. I'm going to put in that I want a beanie or a toque. So that limits some of the things that are going to be there. I'm going to tell the Ravelry I want it to be knitting. And then I'm going to go a little bit further down because it will allow me to make some decisions about whether I want to pay for a pattern or whether I want to have it free. And by having it free, then what you'll see is all the patterns that are free. So it's 18,000. So I'm willing to look through that many. So if you take a look, it has definitely limited things, and now I have an idea of what I'm going to do. So I'm searching for a hat. I'm searching for one that's knitting. I'm searching for one that's free. There's lots of other information you could put in, but for right now, let's just deal with it as that. So I'm going to take a look at this mid-veil hat by Kate Gagnon Osborne. And she has done the year of hats. This is the year of bulky hats. So it tells you the information about the needles you need, the kind of yarn that she used, and you can see that it says a free Ravelry download. So I am going to click on that. And then it will bring this up, and I'm going to first of all add it to my library. So you will see that then that is going to be in my library. So I'm just going to close this out. I'm going to go back to my library, which is upper right hand corner. And then I'm going to go, because I'm not seeing it right away, I'm going to go back up to the top and see where it says date added. So I'm going to ask to search and date added. So because I just added it, it comes up first, and there's the mid-veil hat. So I could click on that, and then I would get to see the pattern. She has a number of hats, which are great to look at. So let's see how else I can filter this out. I can look at color work or construction or design elements. If I wanted it to have cables, I could do that. So I'm going to go to age or size. And I'm going to say that I want a child's hat between 4 to 12 years. And then it limits it even further. So if you take a look, so now I'm looking at the screen's changed, the first page is different, and I'm looking at all these different hats. So there's some with colors, there's some with for babies, there's all different kinds. So I can click on the next page to see if there's anything on the next page that I'd like to see. So it just takes you to the next page. All kinds of good things to see. Some say when you go into Ravelry, it's like going down a rabbit hole. But if you're specific in what you want to do, so I've gone back to the first page. And there was a hat that I liked at the top. So if you look at the hat for Hayden by Knitting Paradise, I'm going to click on that. And once again, it's free because we put that in. So I click on that. And you can see there are some different attachments that you can click on. So there's some, in this case, for adult sizes and some for child sizes. The trick is just to click on the right ones. So there will be things that open up for you, and you can decide whether you want to keep them open or close them out. So I'm just going to click on the first attachment. And what comes up is a basic knitted hat. This look appears to be for an adult size. And there's the information. I could save that and then have that as something that I could come back to later. So you can save it onto a jump drive or onto your desktop of your computer. And then we just go back, and here we are back to the original. And so you can decide how you want to limit it. Do I still want it to be kid size? Do I want it to do something else? And you can just continue through. So once you click on construction, you can see all of the possibilities of things that you can do. Now, some of these will not make sense for the hats, but you can see that there's lots of possibilities, whether you want color work, cables, worked in the round, and it'll show you all those possibilities. Now you can see at the left hand side that it's the number of meters. So if you have a certain amount of yarn, then you can choose, okay, I'm going to make a hat. This is how much yarn I have. What am I going to do? So I like this Karina turban hat. So let's click on that one. Once again, available for free. And if you take a look at this, when you go to click on it, the pattern is not in a PDF form. So you could either copy and paste this, or if you put it into your library, it will always bring you back to this page. But it is a cute hat. I do like that one. And yeah, I like the idea with the button on it as well. So I've clicked on add to my library. So now that it's in my library, anytime I want to go, I'll go to my library and click on it, and it'll bring me to that page that I just showed you. So many things to see, so many patterns. And as I mentioned, right now, everything that we're looking at is a free pattern. So you don't have to worry about how am I going to pay for things? Do I have to pay for things? There are a lot of free things. We're going to approach this next search a little differently. We're going to go into yarns, and we're going to go into some Barocco vintage, or just Barocco yarns. So you can see all kinds of different Barocco yarns that are possible. And let's say I'm looking at Barocco vintage. So I click on that, and you can see there are a number of projects that you can do. So let's go back. If I want to look at those projects, there they are. So I can go up to the top and click on the 68,000 projects, and it will show you projects that are there that have used Barocco vintage. So let's say I want to make some mittens. I'll put that in search, and up will come mittens that somebody has used Barocco vintage for. And you can see there's lots of different projects where mittens are there. You may say, oh, I really like how those look. What is that pattern? Lots of information, that's for sure. Go to the second page. Once again, more mittens. Lots of beautiful mittens with all different kinds of detail and some color work. Great to look at, that's for sure. So we're back to the first page. Now I'm going to look at mittens this way. So I'm on patterns and I search for mittens. And I'm going to go on down the left hand side and say that I want to look at knitted mittens. I'm going to say yes, I want it to have a photo with it. I'm going to say I want worsted because a Barocco vintage is worsted. And I have one skein of yarn. So I'm going to click into where the yardage is. And once again, that will limit it so that I know with the patterns that I'm looking at, it's using Barocco vintage, like a worsted weight yarn would work, and the one skein would work as well. So many things to see. So I really like these ones. It is another free pattern, which is fantastic. So even though I didn't put in that I wanted a free pattern, the free patterns will show up. And I'm just going to add it to my library while I keep looking. That will allow me to go back and be able to see it easily. I can download it, and then I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to save that. I can save it from there to a jump drive or to my computer. Or I can print it. So we'll just close this out and go back to my search, see what else I can see. So there's color work. There are fingerless mitts. So these were cute. Now this is available from Knit Picks, but there's the amount that I would have to pay. So you have to make your decision. When I'm buying a pattern, I usually use PayPal to use that. And it's not difficult to set up a PayPal account. Lots of beautiful mittens. There's definitely so much to see. So it's telling me, yes, I've got enough yardage. Yes, it's worsted, so I'm okay that way. I really did like these mittens. So if you take a look, there's no projects, which means the person has put the pattern up, but there's no other projects that have been used. And sometimes it's nice to look at a pattern that has lots of different projects. So let's take a look at these zigzag mittens. And if I look at the projects up there, there's 3. That's not a lot. So it just means that 3 other people have used that pattern and put it in their projects. So most often, to be honest with you, I look for a pattern that has been used for more projects. So I'm going to go to page 2 and see what I can find. Lots of things to see. Try and find something that's been used more often. So let's take a look at these Alaska mitts. And if you look up at the number of projects, so once again, it is paid for pattern. But if I go to the number of projects, it's 96. That's a better number. So it means more people have used it. It will allow for any errors. And you can look at comments to say, these are beautiful, I like these, or there's an error and they have to fix it. Lots of things to see. So I'm just going to back up a little bit. So in order to add it to my library, I would need to pay for it. So in this case, it's taking you to a website. You would have to add the pattern to your cart. You would need to have an account, and then you would set it up. It is a lovely pair of mittens, so I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to do that. And there's always more to look at. Off to page 3, let's see what else we can find. There's another free download. They're beautiful. Granny Glitten's mitts. So I add it to the library. So sometimes it's good to search through your library so you can remember what else you've added to it. So many pretty things to see on Ravelry. Let's look at these mittens. So 13 projects shown up at the top. So I could buy it now. The other thing I could do is I could add it to my cart. And so what that does is it sets it into my cart. So I'm not paying any money right now, but it just is going to be a safe place to keep what have I seen that I really liked that I'm thinking about buying. Now I'm checking out, it automatically goes to my PayPal account, and I would continue to review the order. And changed my mind. So I didn't go through that. The reality is, for me, it goes right to that, but once you get your Ravelry account set up, it would take you there. It would set it up for you. My last search is going to be working with some yarn. I have a favorite that I love, which is Malabrigo. So I'm going to take a look at that and see what I can find. So I'm going to look at Malabrigo Arroyo, which is a sport weight yarn. And you can see that there's 37,888 projects. So now I'm going to do a search of the projects, and I'm going to search it by color. So initially I put in Tide Pool and realized that that was not the name of the color that I really liked. So I did a little bit of research on that and realized that I needed to be looking at something called Reflecting Pool. So we'll go back up to the top and then change that and put in the proper name of reflecting pool. Not tidal pool, reflecting pool will work. It is one of my favorite yarns and favorite colors. The nice thing about this is it allows you to see projects that have been done in the yarn. Now, everybody's camera and everybody's computer does things differently with colors, but it allows you to see the color itself. And when you know that you've used a color before, it's helpful. So I'm just going to take a look at all of these projects that use the reflecting pool colorway just to see what I can see. I would love to make a sweater. So what I'm going to do is an advanced search, and now I'm going to put in the word sweater. So we're going to look at knitting. We're going to go down to sport weight, which is what Malabrigo Arroyo is. We're going to go to clothing. And we're going to go down to sweater. And I'm just going to look at all sweaters. So what I found is that there's 418 sweaters that have used Malabrigo and the reflecting pool colorway. So you can take a look at all different kinds of sweaters. So I haven't done anything as far as adult sweater. I could limit it that way. There's so many beautiful sweaters. So you just continue looking, and you do need some time if you're going to work with Ravelry. And I took a look at this, but when I looked at the color, there was something about it that I think they had combined yarns, and so I decided I would look at a different one, a different sweater. You can see there's all different kinds of yarns there, so I just wanted to take a look at the Malabrigo reflecting pool. So many things to see. I loved this, and this gives you a good idea of the color. It's got a beautiful turtleneck. So it's very, very nice. Let's take a look and see. Now, this is another thing that I loved, which is the Blooming Airy. And this is by Isabel Kramer. And I love the texture, and the yarn really shows up nicely with this texture. It gives you an idea of size and how much yardage you need. You can go right up and look at the pattern itself. There it is. Now this is in a different yarn that's being shown in this picture, but you can see the texture. I think this is a pattern that I'm going to need to do at some point in time. It is beautiful. And you can go to a full screenshot and see what you can see. It'll show you the texture up close. Beautiful. So I'm going to add it to my cart. Once again, I'm not buying it right now, but I'm going to add it to my cart, and then I can go buy it later. It just is going to hold that thought for me. So sometimes my cart will have 50 things in it, and then every once in a while I go through my cart and get rid of things that I've changed my mind about. But I really do love that. Now we want to talk about the community just so that you can see. So let's go to groups. And there's Grocery Girls and By the Lakeside and Espastrico and all kinds of things. If you click on that lovely picture, so this is MC Knitting Adventures. And you can see that you can join the group. So I'm already part of the group, but if there's a group that you want to do that, there's information about it, and it allows you to do that. So let's go back, and I'm just going to show you how to join a group. So let's see what kind of group I'm going to join. Let's see, I want to join the Laura Nelkin group. So I have joined her group, but with my other Ravelry thing. So here is Laura Nelkin Designs, or the M Club. So I'm going to go to Nelkin Designs, and I'm going to click on that. And then if you can see, it's got all kinds of information. You can go right up and it says join this group. So you click on that. And then you don't need to worry about that. You can just hit Save Changes. And then you go back up and just you can see in your groups, and there's the Nelkin designs that have been added. So that's really, really helpful. So it's just a way of joining a group, and then you can get information. So there's so much to look at in Ravelry, and hopefully this has helped you out a little bit. And so now we'll log out. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you're seeing, give us a thumbs up, comment down below, subscribe. If you have any questions about Ravelry, please feel free to leave those below as well, and I will do my best to get back to you and answer those questions. So until next time.